Hey, what's up? JB Webb back with you live from the Social, and this time we have interesting interview with one of the talented young men here playing for Reggae on the Block. It is Mike Pinto. Mike Pinto, how you doing, bud?
Good. I'm great, man. Just happy to be in Orlando. Happy to be in Orlando. Finally, it's been a few months, and I like getting down to Florida and getting in the sunshine.
Yeah. So where are you from originally? I want to hear a little about your origin.
I'm from. I should introduce my friend Brian Daggett, who plays drums with me as well. He is from Atlanta. He lives in Gainesville, Georgia now.
Okay.
And I am from the Philadelphia area. I was born there till I was 25 years old, and then I moved to San Diego, California.
Okay, cool. So how'd you get into music? Was it something from a young age?
Yeah, there's a family I know that really made me decide to get a guitar, and that was this family called the Keens, and the mom cut my hair, and the brother would always play guitar, and I'd get all jealous, and I'd be like, man, that looks really fun. And then a couple of my other friends ended up getting instruments, and I'm like, man, I need to get a guitar. But I remember every time I went and got my haircut, I was like, oh, I want to do that. So I asked for Christmas, and Santa brought it.
That's cool. So that was like early adolescence or what have you?
I think I was 15.
Okay.
14.
So you started relatively young, and you have a relatively healthy career, right? You travel all around the country.
I feel healthy. Not when I'm on tour, though.
You got, and we've been talking with a lot of people about how reggae is kind of exploding out there and kind of opening its arms to everyone, as it should.
The youth loves reggae, man.
Yeah. So how did you start? Who's some of your inspiration? How'd you start to say, hey, this is kind of my vibe, and it's not pegging you in the corner, saying, oh, it's a straight all reggae or what have you. But how'd you start to get into this type of music? And
the first song I heard, it was, all of the DJs surely have taken a lesson.
Oh, wow.
Start talking trash and I'll come with my Smith & Wesson.
Damn.
First song I ever heard, DJs by Sublime, and I was hooked. I was like, who the hell is that?
Yeah.
I need to get that record, burn it, whatever we got to do.
Yeah.
So I don't even know. It might have been on tape. I don't know if we burned a CD.
Yeah.
I might have actually
that
copied a
on the
tape.
radio. Mixtape.
But I was young then, and I just got my guitar then, so I was starting to play like punk, like Blink 182,
right? Okay,
that type of stuff. And then and we like No Effects and Unwritten Law, and
Fishbone,
and Bad Religion, and all that like SoCal punk was kind of what we were into at the time. And then Sublime came, and it was like over. So that's when I got into this style of music. Then you find Bob Marley, and I found Sublime before I found Bob Marley.
I found Bob Marley before I even heard about Sublime or any of that.
So what's your how'd you first start to get involved? How'd you get hooked up with this guy? How'd that all go down?
Well, I played in a band from Atlanta for like 12 years, and we had done a tour with his band, and we actually played down here in Florida, and we did probably like 5 or 6 shows with him. And that's the first time, like, we had been hearing about him through our other friends, Ballyhoo.
Yeah.
And that's when we had just, met him for the first time, played with him, played with his band. Everything was good. And then, just after time went on, me and the bass player that's actually playing with us now, I've been playing with our bass player for like 12, 13 years.
Oh, yeah?
We decided to leave, our old band. It just been time, to move on to something else. And I kind of called him up, and I was like, I see that you're doing a lot of acoustic stuff. What's going on with the band? And he's said nothing right now, not really, just kind of rolling solo. And I was like, well, could I maybe, roll with you? I got a bass player, and, we could maybe hook up with you,
right?
Make it happen, and thought about it, and then we got together. He kind of was coming through on his acoustic tour. He kind of came through Georgia, and we jammed, and Mikey came up, and all three of us kind of went over some songs and stuff, and so our first tour with him was last summer.
It was a year ago today.
Oh, just a year ago.
I had a couple bands, but I was touring with another band, and then they just decided that the road it takes a lot, it takes a lot to be on the road constantly. So my one friend now is actually, working on having a kid and
wow.
married, and I'm so happy for him because he's stoked on that. So it just was fortuitous that I was coming through Georgia on this acoustic tour because I was like, I still want to be on the road. I still want to have fun.
Right.
And we drove right through Georgia, and we jammed, and they've been the band since. And then I released a disc in May, a year ago, and I had to tour with it, so these guys jumped on tour, and then they've been with me ever since.
Yeah. No, that's an interesting backstory, given that it's only, like a year old, like you said, is like you guys are, so you were doing a lot of solo stuff, mainly acoustic or plugged in?
Well, I had a band. I mean, I toured for about 4 years.
You worked with kind of a lot of session
No,
guys
I had
or
a
guys for
band. I had a
hire?
band from Long Beach, and then, we stopped working together, and then I just, I like the road, and so I was like, I need to get back out there. I don't care if I had a band or not. It's like, and so when I picked these guys up right after, on this acoustic tour, I'm like, man, no wonder I was supposed to go that path.
What's the craziest thing, and maybe even in the last year, some kind of crazy, asking everybody in my funny old little way, tell me a story, Papa. What kind of story? You got any crazy stories from the road or something? We met this guy, or we played with these guys, or anything, and it always puts everybody on the spot, and I love it. So
I know, I should have put some
I can edit this out. Yeah.
Okay, you can edit the ums and the
No, it's cool.
I'm guessing the craziest story.
Met some pretty crazy people.
Yeah, so tell me about that.
We were on tour together, actually, and oh, man. We followed them. Oh, man, this is tough, because you really want it to be, like, dirty and, like, mangy, like, and then it turns out it was a man or something at the end, You're like,
hold on.
And our bass player left the band the next day, and we never saw him again, That's what I want the crazy story to be.
Right. Well, we'll just take that then.
Yeah.
Sounds like something crazy here
well, let's just make it up, because it's going to be cooler.
Okay. A girl was a man. And
No, let's make it up. No. We were in Nashville, Tennessee, right?
Okay.
We're Nashville, Tennessee, and I go to the gas station, and I go to swipe the card to get gas, and there's no more money. I didn't realize. I'm very bad with money management for this band. So
you're like, we're tapped out.
So we're tapped out. So we're like, shit. We can't get any reggae gigs in Nashville. We're stuck here, but we got a gig. Nobody wants to hear reggae. So I went to this like Five and Dime, and I bought a Dwight Yoakam CD, because it was we had some change. It was only the 99-cent pin.
Yeah. It's all coming back to
and we learned 10 Dwight Yoakam songs, and that's how we had to do some country sets. And then that's where our old bass player met, who he thought was her name was Lucy, but it wasn't Lucy. It was Larry. It was Larry Goldberg. And so Larry Goldberg basically ruined our band for about 6 months, and then we got Mike Hatton on bass after that.
That's hilarious.
Basically.
That's hilarious. So there was something behind that.
There was. That's definitely the crazy story. I mean,
it's a crazy story.
It is a crazy story.
He was a good-looking girl.
Yeah, you're all pretty tricked there, and you're not going to check the equipment.
I was kind of jealous.
How is she loading all that stuff in?
I was jealous up to the very end.
That's funny as hell. Well, you guys obviously got a good spirit, a good vibe about what you do, and I've been asking everybody too. What do you kind of see for the future of this vibe of music for reggae, and whether it goes back into, I remember when in the '90s where ska was huge, and that's a derivative, that's a root of reggae.
I think it's different than that, though. I think it's a lot different than that. It's more deeply rooted than ska. Even though ska is extremely deeply rooted, it just got too mainstream too fast.
Yeah.
And I think with reggae over time, with the years of longevity that it's been building and building and building, and all these guys are growing up with the reggae influence and everything like that, I think it's going to be around for a long, 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 long time.
Yeah.
That's just
I see it as a big second wave.
Mm-hmm. I want to see, and what I'm hoping, and I'm starting to see it, is people really kind of changing what the genre reggae is anymore.
What it means.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Some people aren't roots. Some people are a mix, and
right.
and you keep mixing these genres together. And I really feel that something special is going to come from that.
Yeah.
Anybody who experiments with several different styles, which I see, like there's roots reggae, still people like locked into that, but I see a lot of people, a band like Pacifier I was just talking to, there's guys who are like a hybrid, they bring in all these other things, and I think you keep twisting these styles, you keep turning it, and you're gonna get something like what the Police got, you know, and I hope I'm in that band.
Yeah.
You know, but
right.
I think it can be that way.
So pushing it, keeping it pushing. There's really, no limits for what reggae is in general.
Everybody's musical influences added to that mix.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna have kids that listen to country, growing up listening to country. You're gonna have kids listening to folk. You're gonna have kids listening to bluegrass. I mean, it's like like Grateful Dead kids or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
It's all gonna be.
You see that. You
there.
see jammers.
Like some good friends of mine. I mean, their influences were like Metallica, Jimi Hendrix, Motley Crue, like that kind of stuff. But they're taking that like, oh yeah, you can still be badass, and still rock, but your roots reggae or something like that.
Or you talk to any reggae band in the scene, or many of them, and you're like, what genre are you? Reggae? And you're like, well, we're not really reggae, It's like, and you have to like say, but we all
we're
have
a
this.
piece of that. We're like a little of that.
Yeah. It's like, because to say you're reggae is like almost like it's like insulting someone like Bob Marley, because Bob
Someone
Marley,
who's just pure.
Yeah, or a Barrington Lee or Pato Banton. Well, even Pato's got like hip hop.
I mean, Bob Marley had a lot of Motown influences, though.
Yeah,
you're right.
All of the bass lines that Family Man was playing was all Motown stuff.
Yeah.
The early Whaler stuff was phenomenal.
Well, and you even go back to where it was, in the like Fishbone days. They didn't know what to do with those guys.
Yeah.
They didn't know what to do with
Fishbone.
It was like either it wasn't R&B, it wasn't it was like, but it was Red Hot Chili Peppers, right? It was all that feel of that SoCal punk kind of movement. You couldn't put them in a box, and that's what I think the beautiful thing about reggae is, and the music that you bring, and the collection of musicians that are here for Reggae on the Block really kind of say, hey man, we got all kinds of cool evolutionary DNA
and look at
in our groups, and we're gonna make some cool stuff happen. So.
I think so. I mean, look at the locations of where these bands are in the first place. It's like headliners, Easy Star All Stars. They're from like upstate New York and the Boston area, Northeast. Right. I'm from Philly. These guys are from the South. You got
Pacifiers from the South.
Pacifiers from the South. You got Catch a Fire from New Zealand. Natty Vibes from Hawaii.
Right.
You have who else?
The Movement, South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina, and there's that band Ojo de Buoy, who's from Costa Rica, B-side player, Southern California.
Right.
It's like your environment is everything when you're writing these songs. So like you're gonna have. I mean, I could never write a song like Catch a Fire because I don't live in New Zealand. I don't grasp that vibe.
Right.
And reggae is influenced about the people
your culture
and the vibe around you. Yeah.
Right. Well, cool. Well, we've been speaking with Mike Pinto, and what was your name again? The drummer.
Brian Daggett.
Brian Daggett of the Mike Pinto Band.
Yeah, just Mike Pinto.
We
are a band.
What's a good website for people to go check you guys out? And I'm sure through that they can link up with your social.
It's MikePintomusic.com.
MikePintomusic.com?
Yeah, you can just Google that.
That's the best way to do it.
Google that shit.
/MikePintoMusic.
Cool. Well, what time are you guys getting out there tonight?
7:30.
7:30, just when things cool down.
I know.
Mike Pinto, you're very fortunate.
Looking forward to it.
Well, cool. We're sitting in the social lounge. I'm JB Webb, speaking with Mike Pinto Band. Mike Pinto, especially, who's tuning his guitar. So this was a perfect time
thanks,
to do
man.
it. Yeah, thank you. And keep on pumping out great music. Keep on being inspirational.
Appreciate that.
And hopefully we'll see you again on the return tour.
I love Orlando. Thank you so
All
much
right, guys.
to everybody.
Thanks. Peace. Thanks, guys. It's a wrap on the reggae rap.
That was a good story about the rest. That was good.